Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Megan Irwin. Welcome to our portal training for Early Learning Hubs. We're excited to see so many of you on the line this morning. I'm going to give a brief introduction to what we're doing today and then hand it over to our fabulous tech support, Tara Walker, who's going to walk you through exactly how to log into the portal, how to use it, and answer any questions you have about the portal. We're going to do this kind of informally, so as Tara is going through, if you have a question, you can type it into the chat for us to answer. You can also unmute yourself and speak up. We want to make sure that this is your opportunity to get your questions answered. So all that we're going to do today is do just a brief overview of the portal, what it is, how to use it, make sure that everybody understands it, and then do questions and answers. What we're doing today is only technical training on the portal. Questions that you probably all have about substantive content in the RFA should wait until our applicant bidders conferences that we're doing next week. Or if you have a burning question now after getting in there and kind of poking around and seeing the questions, you can always start to submit those in writing to us for a formal answer. Just so that everybody has this on their radar, this was published with the RFA yesterday, but we are doing 3 applicant conferences next week for you to come and get those substantive questions answered. On the 9th, we'll be out in Lincoln City in the morning. And then out in the Gorge in the afternoon on the 9th. And then on April 11th, we'll be out at Malheur Education Service District in Vail, out east. So you'll have those 3 opportunities to ask substantive questions in person, and you can always submit those questions to us in writing for an answer, and we will publish responses to questions every Friday on a regular schedule now that we're in this open procurement. So with that little bit of introduction, I'm going to pass it over to Tara Walker, who is one of our tech support folks for the portal, and she's prepared a great document to walk you through to show you how to use it. This document will also be posted online for you to access anytime you need it. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Tara.
So what we're going to do today is we're just going to take a few minutes. We're going to walk through the form, how it functions. There have been some changes since the last round, so I want to make sure that everybody is in the know on how everything works and get any preliminary questions out of the way so that everybody can go in and start working on their applications with as much knowledge as possible. Yes.
Stand by with us for just 1 second. We're going to share this document with the group.
Okay, so we're going to walk through this document here. This document is located at the very top of the home page, and it actually says Oregon Early Learning Hub Application Instructions. So it is already posted. Anyone can access it and download it whenever you need to. I've tried to put as much instruction in here as possible. If we need to update it with any questions we end up with today, I will do that and update the copy that is on the website. So we're going to walk through a quick introduction of the form, the site structure, and walk you through basically how the site works and how everything is organized. We'll walk you through the applications checklist, and we'll go through the application and its sections individually. As far as introduction, we're going to go through accessing your Hub application. The site for that is going to be earlylearninghub.sharepoint.com/hubslive. You'll enter those credentials that you received in email already, and that is how you will log into the site. It will be taken directly to the home page where your application is located. If you've got a problem logging into the account or if you forget your password, you can reach technical support, which will primarily be me, at 503-798-8686. You can also send an email to eldhub.support ode.state.or.us. As far as questions regarding the application process or the content, you can contact procurement support at 503-798-5539, or you can also send an email to earlylearning.oeib@state.or.us. This information is also located at the end of this document, just for quick reference. It is also located on the website at the contact page. So if you didn't catch all that, that's totally fine. We'll be able to go through it again. So the basic site structure, you will log in and you will see this header on your home page. It'll say Early Learning Hub here. You will have Hub Home, you will have your contact page, and your frequently asked questions page. This recent drop-down will give you quick access to anything that you've recently accessed, but since everything is already linked up here, you probably won't really need to use that for convenience. So the Hub Home link will take you back to the home page no matter what page you're looking at. If you click on this title, that will also take you to the home page. So either way, just a quick access back to where you started. The contact page contains all of that contact information that we just went through, both for technical support and for procurement support. And we'll have both the email addresses and the phone numbers on there. The frequently asked questions page is a great resource. It's got a lot of different varying questions. It has some standard technical questions. It has some standard procurement questions, things that we ran into during the last round that were really handy to have posted up there. You can find everything from how to use the application checklist, or when I save my entry, can I go back and edit it, and some other basic questions. So make sure to peruse that. If you run into an issue, we probably already have it posted up there. If not, feel free to give us a call or an email, and we'll go ahead and walk you through whatever problem you're having. So on your home page, you're going to see this section right here. It's called Your Hub. This will have your application and application checklist links. We have added the due date here, as well as a countdown for how many dates are remaining for your application to be submitted. Submission is automatic. As soon as the deadline has expired, everything will be submitted automatically and the portal will close. So if you are working on your application and you finish it early, that's awesome. You don't really need to do any further steps other than what you've already put into the application. Once the portal closes, everything is going to be considered at the same time. You will see your entity name, the due date, and remaining days you have to complete your application. You have a link here to your application checklist and a link here to start your actual application form. The application checklist is pretty standard, and it's mostly going to contain just line items for uploading the documents into your application. You want to make sure that you have some place where you can track each required piece, just for convenience sake, as we are going to be putting those documents directly into the application instead of into a separate area, which we'll walk through here in a minute. So this is for your convenience. It's not a required piece. It's a tool to help. So if you find this useful, great, and if not, that's totally fine. And again, you can access this application checklist at this link here from the home page. The application itself, once you enter the application, this is the header information that you're going to see. You're going to see a save button, a close button, your regular copy and paste options. You will also see these buttons up top to navigate, and a save and close button. So you will use the save and close button if you were done working on your application for the time being. It'll be just a quick, you'll hit the button, everything will save automatically and close down the form. You'll be returned to the home page. We do encourage you to save often as you are working on your application. The session will time out after about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, so we want to make sure that you don't lose any of your data in the meantime. So we do encourage you to save as often as possible. To save the form, While you're working on it without closing it, you can just use this Save button up here in the left-hand corner. These buttons right here will help you navigate to the different sections of the form. Background and strategy, section A, B, C, and D, and the confidential materials section. The confidential materials section serves as attachment 2, and if you complete that section, an additional attachment 2 to your application will not be required. So we've entered that directly into the application for ease of use. Do we have any questions so far, guys? All right. The last button here is the print button. This will navigate your form over to a view that is optimized specifically for printing, so it won't look like a form. It'll have different headers. It'll simplify all the information and just make it very simple when you print it out. When you access this view, you cannot edit the information from this view. It is a read-only view specifically for printing. You'll print normally either Control-P for printing or file print as you usually would once you access the view. And to go back to the form, there's a simple button on top that just says Return to the form. So it's nice and easy. We've simplified that view quite a bit. So the application, once it is printed or converted to a PDF document, should look a lot more friendly and simplified. Okay. So there are only 2 required fields to begin your application. The first one is the applicant name on the default view, which is background and strategy. Now you can only enter your applicant name one time, so make sure that it's in the format that you want it to be viewed as. If you do enter it incorrectly, you will not be able to change it. You can always close the form without saving it and just reopen it and try again. Once you click out of that field, it will lock and you won't be able to change it. The only other required field to begin your application is the application cover sheet. Inside of the form, you will find the template here. It is embedded directly into the form, so you can just double-click on that, and it will open, and you can use that as your template. You will need to upload after you've completed it here in this section. Once that happens and both of those fields are populated, you will see a message appear in this box here that says, "Congratulations, you may now begin." Until that message appears, you will not be able to save your form, so make sure not to skip those fields and continue with the rest of the application, otherwise you won't be able to save your progress, so that's really important. So for the application cover sheet, we just want to take a minute to note that it does require a signature, so you will need to take the template and print it out and complete it with a hard copy signature and scan back in a copy to upload. So we just want to make sure and make a note of that. And there is a reminder right next to the template on the form that reminds you that it does require a signature. There are 2 ways that you're going to see templates and examples in the form. The first way is as embedded directly into the form. You will see an example here. Double-click on it, it will open up the example document. Same with the template document. And then the third space will be where you will upload your completed document that you have created from the template. The other way that you will see this are just as links. You will see an example link, a template link, and then this last piece will stay the same where you will upload your attachment. You can delete the attachment that you put in there and replace it with a new one. Just hover over the field or right-click on the field and it will give you those options. Our text boxes in the form do have an 8,000 character limit. This includes spaces and coincides with Microsoft Word as a processing document. So you will see the same character count here as You will, if you are entering your information into a word processing document and then pasting it over into the fields in the form. And there are some instructions here on how to find your character count within Word, both for newer versions of Word and for older versions of Word. If you're in a newer version of Word, there are two different ways that you can access that character count. In the lower left-hand corner of your document, if you click on the space where it says words, it will bring up the word count. You'll see how many pages, words, characters without spaces, and characters with spaces. The characters with spaces is the one that you need to keep an eye on and ensure that it doesn't exceed 8,000 characters. The second way to do this in a newer version of Word is to go to your Review tab and click on your word count button. That will open up the same window. If you're using an older version of Word where you don't have these tabs, you will go to Tools and Word Count. Any questions so far? All righty. So the background and strategy section will mostly contain text box fields and attachment fields. There is only one set of what we call conditional fields, and that appears in the background and strategy. This is new from last time, and so I want to walk you guys through this. We have inserted the equivalent of attachment 6. To complete this section of the form, an additional attachment 6 to your application will not be required, and we have gone ahead and shrunk this section up so that only the required answers will appear. So in this case, if you were to select yes in these radio buttons in the form, this section here with additional questions or information being requested will appear automatically. If you were to select no, that section would disappear. And that will apply to the entirety of this particular section for attachment 6. You will only be looking at the information that you're required to enter. Section A is comprised of text boxes and attachment fields. The only thing you will see new in Section A are what we call repeating fields, and these are fields where you can actually physically insert additional copies or rows of the field. And for Section A, you'll be doing that with attachment fields. It will default to having 3 attachment spaces where you can attach 3 different files. Not all 3 spaces need to be populated to save properly or anything. You can leave them blank, and that's fine. If you need additional room because you have more than 3 documents to attach, you will just hit this Insert Item button, and it will insert another row of 3 attachments for you. For Section B, you will see standard fields that you've already run into, the basic repeating fields we've already worked through, and the text boxes and attachment fields. For Section C, you'll see an additional set of repeating fields that are similar to the attachments that I just showed you above, but these will actually be text fields, and they repeat the exact same way. In this case, you'll have a table that shows you programs and strategy to reach outcomes, and it will default with only 1 line. For each new program and strategy, you'll just hit this Insert Item button, and it will give you a new row. You can remove these rows if you accidentally put one in there that you don't want to be there. This little drop-down button that will appear when you hover over the field will allow you to do that, so you can delete rows or insert rows as you need them. Any questions? Not a whole lot of questions early in the morning. Okay, so our last little piece is Section D. Section D is basic fields, text boxes, but some of these fields are going to be restricted to certain formats, which we're going to run through real quick. Section D contains the different metrics that we're going to be requesting for the application. These fields are going to be restricted to particular information, and usually that's going to be either a percentage or a whole number. If you enter the incorrect format into a field, it will let you know by putting this red dashed line around the field. So in this case, this is a field that requires a whole number only. So it will not accept text, it will not accept a fraction of a number, and it will not accept special characters like a percentage sign. Once you enter the correct format, the dashed line will go away and everything will be fine. If you enter invalid data into a field, you won't be able to save the form. It will bounce back and tell you there's a problem that you need to correct before you can save it. So make sure that you enter the correct format into the field before saving your form. Now, if you've entered information and it says that it's incorrect, but you don't know exactly what's going on, if you hover over the field that has the red dash, you'll see this pop up and it will tell you exactly what the problem is. In this case, this field requires full numbers only, so it will tell you exactly what's wrong with the text that you've entered. So there's no guesswork, which is always nice. So those are the basic things that you're going to run into as you work through the application. You're going to have some additional functionalities in the form which you may not be familiar with. If you run into any issues with those, just contact technical support with the phone number or the email, and we can walk you through exactly how to use those or what may be going on. That is the same for if you have any additional technical issues navigating the site or logging into the site. Specifically, if you forget your password, we will be able to do a password reset for you if you give us a call or an email, and we can set that up for you. Since the form is able to be overwritten, we want to make sure that you're limiting the sharing of your credentials within your team, or at least coordinating clearly the data entry for the form. If more than one person is in the form at the same time, each time those people save, they can overwrite the information that the other person is entering, so we just want to mitigate that as much as possible. So make sure and coordinate with your team the data entry into the form to keep that from happening, as we can't go back and restore any lost information. We do encourage that you enter your text into a Word document or similar program and then paste it into the form and save each time. You are welcome to enter the text directly into the text boxes in the form, and just keep an eye on that character count if that is the way that you want to do it. We just encourage the additional step in the process, again, to make sure that your session doesn't time out and that you lose information that you've put directly into the form. So just as a precaution, if you're comfortable entering text directly into the form, that's fine. Just make sure and save as often as possible. At the end of this document, we went ahead and put the contact information both for technical support and for procurement support again. Again, those are also posted on the website at the contact page. And as far as questions for the actual content of the application itself, make sure that those questions go to procurement support. If they come to the wrong place, they may not get addressed properly. So just make sure that your question is going to the correct person. I think that is pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions?
Don't be shy about your questions. There we go. Here's one asking if we could explain what happens when more than one person is in the portal at a time and saving their work. So Tara, go ahead and answer that, then we'll get to the next one.
Okay. So the portal will support more than one person being logged in and working on the application, and that's why we really encourage you to coordinate with your team as far as the data entry into the form. If more than one person is saving the form at the same time, the changes from the opposite person will be overwritten when they hit that save button. So it's really important that you coordinate with your team when doing data entry into the form.
I'd recommend, this is Megan, I'd recommend having a schedule with your partners for who's going to be entering what, when, to avoid any complications like that. We have another question here asking if there's a limit on the number of attachments.
No, you can insert as many attachment rows as possible. However, the more attachments and the more size, the larger the size of the attachments that you insert, Keep in mind that will affect the load time of the application itself. So if you put in a lot of attachments, that's perfectly fine. Just know that it'll take a few extra minutes to load the form up when you go in to edit it.
And we have another question asking, will these instructions be available for download so that we can use them as we go through the process?
Absolutely. So these instructions are uploaded on the home page of the site, and it's the very top link. You can't miss it, and it just says the Early Learning portal instructions, and it's a link that you can just click on, and it will open up this particular document.
Tara, if someone gets locked out of the site, can they email you or Ken for a copy of these instructions?
Absolutely. We will be able to get you these instructions if for whatever reason you aren't able to access them.
Thank you. Hub applicants, what other questions do you have on how to use the portal? We really want to make sure that you get a chance to ask any questions you have about this portal at this time.
The other documents for the application, so any of the procurement documents or other reference documents will be available on the home page as well. We'll have two different sections on the home page. One will specifically be for supporting documents, and one will be for the procurement documents, so all of the attachments and the RFA itself will all be put in there. Those are also located on the home page for your reference or download. So you can access those at any time from the home page as well. If you have trouble accessing those and you need a copy sent to you directly, we can do that as well. Just contact technical support for that also. We're going to go ahead and unmute everybody just in case there's anyone who has a question but is struggling to use the chat box to just give you a final chance. Okay, great. All right. Okay. If anybody has any questions after the fact, after we've gone ahead and closed this meeting, feel free to go ahead and give us those questions. Just make sure to separate the procurement questions from the technical questions, since they do have different contact information. And as a final reminder to everyone on the call, we have 3 applicant conferences coming up where you'll have the chance to ask substantive questions about the questions contained in the RFA. To recap when those are, we have 2 on April 9th, one in the morning out in Lincoln City, another in the afternoon on the 9th at Columbia Gorge Community College, and on April 11th we'll be out east at Malheur Education Service District. So Kim and I really look forward to seeing some of you in person next week to get your content questions answered. And please let us know if you have any technical issues as you get in and start exploring what's in there. Our team is here to help. The final thing I want to just remind everybody is that now that we're in a live procurement, Kim Hankins from DAS Procurement Services is our sole point of contact. And so any questions you have about RFA content or the procurement process need to go to Kim, not to any other Early Learning Division staff. And you can reach Kim at earlylearning.oeib@state.or.us. You can also find all of the technical assistance content that we provided leading up to this open procurement on our website at OregonEarlyLearning.com. So please use the resources available to you. If you have questions, please send them to Ken, and we look forward to seeing all of you in person next week. At this point, I'll do one final call for questions for folks that are in there kind of poking around and exploring. We haven't gotten anything else in the chat box. So we're going to assume that's it for right now, and we're here to answer any other technical questions you have as they come to you. So send them on in when you think of them. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.